Hello, and welcome to the ACSC Podcast. Thank you all for the support on the last episode. If you haven't seen it, it's one of our, I'll say, more entertaining and funnier ones with Caversham United, hearing stories about how they signed the GOAT as their marquee player. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out over on all the socials. But back again, you may have noticed there's a bit of sun in the background because we're actually recording during the day for once, not at night. So it's an eventful one. But I'll pass over to the usual co-host to sort of kick the episode off.
Right. Good morning, guys. Today we've gone for our episode. We're more local to my home. So we've joined by Odihiambo, our new North Leigh first team manager. Welcome.
Morning. Thank you very much. Looking forward to it. It's not through want of trying though. We've tried to get a couple of night sessions now, haven't we? So
yeah.
It's the best way to do it, I think.
Of course.
Right. So obviously, like we just said before, we started pressing record. We're trying to put you on the spot and doing your ultimate six-sider you've played with.
Okay, then I will start off with. I will go Billy Turley in goal. So I haven't thought about this at all until right now. So if I've forgotten anyone or omitted anyone, you weren't memorable enough. So that's why they're not in. I'll go Billy Turley in goal just because he was ridiculous. He was crazy as he was good. We'd have screaming matches throughout the whole game, but he just come and cuddle you straight afterwards. He was a real proper introduction into what non-league football was about, basically. Billy Turley, excellent. And then, like I say, the first time I started playing first team with him, I thought he was about 40 then. And then when I played again with him later on, he said he was still. So yeah, I don't know how old he is now, but he did well. He did well. Is it five outfield players or four outfield players?
Five.
So in defence, I will go AD Smith. So I played with him. So I'm only counting first team, and it was my first ever loan. It was my second loan, actually. My first loan, I went to Chester. And my first loan, then I went to Tamworth, and AD Smith took me under his wing, looked after me. He was my real introduction into non-league football, but he was a really good guy, and I had a lot of fun with him. I'd love to see where he is now, actually, and catch up with him. But AD Smith would go there. Alongside him, I would pick Ronnie Henry, Stevenage legend, and again, all-round good guy, and just a really good guy. Trained how he played, just moaning the whole time, but it was always. Well, there was a difference to his moaning, actually. I can't stand people who moan. I can't stand players who moan. But he would, with his information, he'd only give information. So it'll be incessant, but it was always information. So if you're playing with him, you were in no two minds about what he expected. And like you say, when you trained with him, it was just the same. So Ronnie Henry will go in there alongside AD Smith. In midfield, I will go with. I always talk about how good Andy Burgess was. He was really, really quality at Oxford for a year. But I'm not going to choose him. I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick my mate Danny Rose. Sorry. Yeah. Gonna put him in there because again, I always like playing with players who make you look better. So I would do his running basically, and then give him the ball, and then he would go and do something with that wand of a left foot he's got. Super player. So I'll put him in there. Up, and then I'm just going to go as attacking as I can. So I will put. Going to be solid. I'm going to put another mate in. I'm going to put Yemi Odebaid in there. Because he's a legend, like you say. He's just the nicest person in the world. we followed each other for a few seasons. So he was at Oxford, I joined Oxford. I went to Stevenage, he joined Stevenage. I went to Newport, he came to Newport. We both went to Gateshead together, so we travelled up together to sign, and it was memorable because we're going up there, and we got stuck on the M1, and we were meeting the manager in, I don't know if you know the Newcastle Gateshead area, but there's an area called Jesmond, and we were meeting there for some supposed to be for lunch, and we didn't get there. 9 hours it took us to get up there, and we were straight away we're thinking, what are we doing here? Can't be doing this. But we got there, and the manager said, right, we'll sort out contracts, everything tomorrow. You guys just enjoy Newcastle's sites. And by the morning we were like, yeah, we'll sign straight away. It was a good night out. But Yemi will go in there, and again, he's another player who, when I played with him, he made me better, I made him better, and we had a really good wavelength, and we played some really good football together. And then the other striker, I'll finish off another striker. I could have chose so many here, but I'm going to go with just ahead of Steve Morrison. I'm going to put John Shaw for now. Thinking John Shaw today. He was brilliant. I loved him playing with him because he can make a bad pass a good one for starters. So you play it up to him. He'd flick it on and run and chase it himself. He'd hold it up. He'd drop in and defend, come back for set pieces. At that level, he was the ultimate striker. So I'll put those in. I've gone for good people all over, I think, and Billy Turley. But no, all people who are I enjoyed their company as well. So, but all people who you went a little bit extra for on the pitch because they were good people.
It's one of those things that obviously within the team you have got to have a good relationship with other team players for you to even advance within the game as such.
I think it helps. I don't think it's completely necessary. There's times where I've been in squads where players weren't mates or didn't associate with each other, didn't socialise whatsoever, but they'd run for each other and fight for each other, which is what you need on the pitch, I think. So it just, those guys, it just helps. That's probably why they're at the front of my thinking, because I still in contact with them, and that's probably why I'm thinking about them at this moment.
Brilliant. Right, we'll move on to the main point of you becoming North Leigh manager. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I was speaking to Dory last night, and it's one of those things that I never thought about until yesterday is, even with obviously the standard we're at North Leigh, from the board, are you still getting objectives you've got to do for this season and where they want you to be progressing North Leigh?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's quite an ambitious club, to be honest, and they've established.
It's massive.
Yeah, they've established themselves at this level. So it's kind of, what can you do next to, I don't know, really cement yourself at the level and be competitive at the level now that you, like I say, they've been here a couple of years. Can you be competitive in the top half of the table? Can you build everyone working together, the team, the club, can they build the club reputation even further? So there is obviously directors, because it's as well as results. So results is obviously the final outcome, which everybody outside the club will only look at. But if you're a supporter, a player, a staff member, a coach, a board member, a parent of someone in the club, from the junior teams through to the first team, then it's more than just results for you. It's a bit more layered, a bit more things to consider. So my role will be to improve things which are going on with the first team, and then you've got a whole load of other people helping out with around the club, and that's why Craig's in the role that he's in, because yeah, he's the busiest man at the club.
With this, because obviously only when we had our changeover, because we were in division, the South Division, weren't we? So obviously we had long journeys of where we were going, and in that division we were kind of near the playoffs, but when it comes to the last stretch of it, we were just stopping short of it, which it's obviously a lot easier. Well, not a lot easier, but obviously with this new division, it's that kind of thing we need to progress with, is getting into those playoffs. Surely is obviously one of the main targets as well.
Yeah, so that's probably what I mean then, in terms of where's the next step from establishing yourself at this level. So we found a level which we're in. Can you become more competitive? Can you finish towards those top 8 places? And that's probably the next step. So to get there, can we show signs that we're improving? Can we be more consistent? Can we travel away and get results there? Can we? The dream for the club, the club's dream is always, can you have a cup run? It's all little things like that which are indicators to a club progressing. The stadium, can there be improvements in the pitch, in the changing rooms? You'll know Warren, the clubhouse is fantastic at the moment. And the marquee outside there, literally, I'll go there, there's a new gate or new shed up every time I step there. It's brilliant.
Even the car park, I think.
No, the car park, Jesus.
The fence was so much more far back.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The car park, you got to take out a new insurance every time you drive down that pathway. But now it's even that's improving.
You got anything, Charlie?
I was going to say, obviously, sort of being that side of things, and sort of not being a local to the club. Obviously, I believe you were sort of player coach before. What sort of made you make that decision to step up now to become the full-time manager and sort of look to guide the club forward in the future?
Everyone I was playing against was quicker than me. No, it's like I say, as I was player coach, it's a progression. It's quite a natural progression in terms of, I've been coaching for a while, and you do your badges, you do some. I'm entrenched in those, and the opportunity was incredible. Like you say, I'd had the shortened season last year to view what the squad had, to play in that level and see what type of teams we're playing against. So without even knowing it at the time, I was almost going through a recce, and knowing what the expectations were, what the league's like, what the teams are like, what the people are like. So it all fell quite naturally in the end. And then working with Lex, who, like I say, I've known all my life, and we share a lot of the same views. So for us two, it's a really seamless transition, and we'll see where it takes us. For me personally, it was, like you say, I've been player coaching for a little while now, and upon doing that, is you realize how much enthusiasm and you've got for doing it. Whereas when you're still playing, you think, oh, is it for me? I don't know. I wasn't too sure. It wasn't until I started coaching and then doing it regularly, and then seeing the difference I can make from coaching, which makes you think, right, okay, I can pursue this. And it's not to say that, who knows? But the reason I started doing badges was, like, I was seeing mates retire and go into jobs, and I just thought, okay, I want to make sure I'm in the opportunity. I've got the opportunity to make a choice if that ever comes. So it wasn't an overnight decision for me to stop playing and retire, and it wasn't an overnight decision to take this job either.
Was it, as you'd call it, player coach, I can't be bothered to play this game?
No. To be honest, no, it was. you'll see it last season. Whenever Craig told me I was on the bench, I was fuming. It was I always wanted to play. I've always wanted to play, but it's literally that I feel there's more longevity in myself now through coaching rather than playing. And yeah, I feel my biggest contribution I can make now is through coaching rather than playing. And I, in all honesty, can't play at the level which I want to play at. And getting ready to play at the level, so staying as fit as my game was really energetic and athletic, my playing style. And if I can't, it's really hard to do that the older I get.
So is there obviously you've been at some good clubs, to be honest. Was there any you took any inspiration from managing styles from your career of being managed from other clubs?
Yeah, I think you do that as you go by. You even if you don't realise it, you'll always pick up a load of things. So most obviously in sessions, in training sessions is where you subconsciously pick things up. And I see in the sessions which are planned now is that, okay, I've remembered doing something similar to this and thinking at the time if I was playing, I might change this and that. So that's an obvious way where I think I've picked things up. And then it's dealing with people is probably the way you pick most things up. There's that saying, can't remember it word for word, but you remember how people treat you. So I think that's an important part of it, especially at this level, because it's not a level you're going to be losing mates over or anything like that. It is the social aspect is really, really important, but obviously you've got to have that mentality to win, and I want people with that mentality who want to compete and win around as well. So it's I'm looking forward to. I don't know. Sometimes I surprise myself in how I react as well, because there's situations and I speak to my brothers all the time about it, and with Lex, and I think you might have to rein me in here because I'm about to react in a way that I didn't think I would. So so that's why Lex is brilliant for me, because he's a foil for me and I'm a foil for him, because we got those. I don't think you change who you are necessarily, but who you are comes out even more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The other thing I was sort of going to bring up as a little bit is we were talking about with Caversham the other day. Obviously, you're a lot higher league, but obviously with the whole new guidance that come out the other day from the FA, obviously, like you mentioned, the season got caught short last season, and it looks like the same. Is there any sort of an update for you guys if you're looking that's going to get any league football this season, or is it now being backed off into next year again now?
Yeah, so our season's fully curtailed for this year, and we've just had the guidance in terms of having guidance in terms of league structure. So the league structure for next season will be known to us in looking at the date now, in about 3 weeks' time. So we may be in the same league, we may move to play a different region of football, but either one's we're prepared for, and we'll deal with that as it comes.
As long as you don't go into Whitney District.
As long as you don't do that. At least we'll have a load of local derbies then, so that'll be all right.
Brilliant.
Which is what we do want to keep that. That would be good to keep. So it was good last season where we did have Kidlet and Didcot wanted all in the same league. Yeah. That does, helps. More local games you can have, the better it is. But I'm sure there'll be some changes, so that may impact. How that impacts is us on geographically whether players want to travel to wherever those places are. But equally that may open up the opportunity to get players who are more prepared to travel into those to different areas. So it swings and roundabouts, but that's why signing players as close to North Leigh as possible is great. So you want all the best local players you can get. So then things like that don't become an issue.
Yeah. I suppose when it comes down to transfers, you've obviously have a good relationship with Oxford. So is it a lot easier for you to negotiate getting a player in to come on loan to North Leigh?
I wouldn't say so yet, because that's gonna, again, it's not a case where I can just go to them and say, because obviously this is a standard where players aren't gonna necessarily want to start out at. And probably more importantly, I'll need to have a relationship with people from Oxford to do that with any club. You don't want to just go and call the manager up and say, "Oh, can I nick a player off you?" They're going to want to know their players coming to the best place for that player. So it's not a case of calling in favours. It's a case of making sure that North Leigh is a place where young players can go and get some men's football, which is going to be, and prepare them to go to the level they want to play at. It's all good, well and good going on loan, but there's no point of going on loan if when you come back to your club, you're not ready for the standard of football that you want to be at.
Yeah.
So, and in terms of, if I don't know, I want to get the best players we can. So I don't know. We'll have to see in terms of relationships with different teams and the players that we need, and whether it's Oxford City, any other. I played for the local team, so whichever one it is, they have to be right all around club player, and both clubs and the player. So that's going to be the most important thing.
I was going to bring up something a bit different. Is obviously recently we had a guest called Dylan on the program, and he's sort of semi-pro footballer, sort of playing at a sort of similar level to you guys. But I sort of found it interesting, obviously playing back in the day when I was younger. The things he's doing at sort of that level now is he's got his own physiotherapist, he's got his own private coach, he's training. I was sort of saying is that he's training as a professional footballer at this level, and sort of seeing the differences. Do you think that's sort of going to become a more recurring theme at sort of, let's say, this level of football to make players become better and up the standard?
Yeah, I do. In short, I see it now more that players are always pretty much in shape. Long gone are the days where you're just players are running in bin bags and all of that other stuff. They keep themselves in shape. They've all, like you say, so many now do deploy their own one-to-one coaching, whether that's for fitness or for technique and things like that. That wasn't my style. My style was to go to the field with a group of mates and we'll just play football and play keep ball and stuff like that in the summer holidays. And did it that way. But people are adapting and trying to think what's best for them. How that helps coaches is that you can start playing, get the footballs out and start playing football as quick as you can in pre-season. For example, we've just been training. We've had the players back in for a month, knowing there's no competitive games, but we've had them in twice a week for a month. And it's like they haven't been away in terms of their attitude and their fitness and their physicality. So that's been really good. Loads of things like that help with trying to maintain fitness and injury prevention. And like I say, if that's what I'm not going to knock it, because that's what they're investing in themselves.
I found it very sort of fascinating because, like, from
it's a completely different approach.
And that's what, for me growing up is obviously when I used to do that. Obviously, when I was at sort of like schoolboy level of getting into an academy, etc., that was sort of the norm. You never heard of it outside of those levels, whereas it seems to be such a recurring theme, even at sort of the non-league and the lower league level now. I just think it's really exciting to sort of see for the sport going forward that these standards of football are going to be getting a lot better.
You'd hope so, and you'd think so. Biggest change since, like, say, when I was a schoolboy, when I first played non-league football, it was old guys, people really old league, and a sprinkling of some good young players. It's completely reversed now, where it's really, really young people, really, really hungry players. It's not old guys picking up their last pay packet. So ultimately it leads to, you'll think it leads to a better standard, and lead to more players getting league opportunities from non-league football or higher up non-league football. So
I completely agree. I think we have seen a few examples. Obviously, probably the most notable is Jamie Vardy, obviously stepping up now at Leicester, flying. I'm trying to remember. I think, is it Cohen Bramall went to Arsenal?
That's right.
A few years ago. So they are now starting to get those opportunities, which is really interesting. And let's talk about, like you mentioned now, see pre-season now kicking back in. Has that allowed you to start looking at bringing some of your own tactics and your ideas into the club now?
It will do. Yeah, if anything, it's given it. I've got too much time to think about it, because having been appointed now and not starting, it'll be about 5-6 months before my first competitive game. So there's all types of ideas and thoughts and everything. So just really looking forward to it. I'll have a really long unbeaten run. That's the good thing.
So sort of looking ahead in the future, obviously going into sort of taking the first steps into coaching, where would you sort of like to see yourself potentially in 5 years' time within coaching?
North Leigh in the Championship, is that? Are we? How many leagues? No.
What steps?
That's too many leagues. That's about 8 leagues away, isn't it? Can't do that in 5 years. It will be coaching at the high standard that I can, working with the best players I can at whatever level it is, and I don't know, just again, I want it to give me opportunities to. Football's been really good in terms of allowing me to travel, meet different people, be in different environments. So that's what I want to do with my work, with my coaching. Just give me opportunities to make choices. I don't want to be ever in a position where I think, I have to do this. I have to take this job. I have to take this role. I just want it to give me all the opportunities I can, and then I can make the best decision for myself, my family, and whatever I'm doing at the time. So, do I have a 5-year plan or anything like that? Probably nothing I would share, but there's things I would want to do in that time, and managing was
one of them.
Was definitely one of them. And I've like I say, that opportunity's come up now. This is not my first opportunity. It's the first opportunity I've taken.
Yeah.
And it's a straight away to myself that speaks like, okay, this feels right. I'm big one on having a gut feeling sometimes and taking that. So that, and now was part of my plan, I guess 3 years ago or something like that, where I thought, okay, put myself in a position where I'm going to be ready to manage if that ever comes. Yeah. And so I've been that, yeah.
Sort of linking it into that, is there any sort of current managers or upcoming managers you sort of look at and sort of take inspiration from? Because obviously, I think sort of similar player roles. Obviously, Wayne Rooney, now manager at Derby, sort of made that sort of similar transition from a player coach to manager. Mm. Is there anything sort of like that you look at and inspire to be?
Again, I was chatting to my brother a couple of months ago, and he said, when I told him I was taking the job, and he said, in the Premier League, then what manager you like? I said, at the time, Ralph Hasenhüttl. They lost 9-0 that day. So I had to change that. No, I don't know. No one specifically, because you don't know what they're doing day in, day out. And you only see the perception they allow you to see. So for me, it will be, being influenced. Who am I influenced by? And I've had a lot of good coaches and a lot of good managers who, even the managers, I haven't had bad managers. I've had managers that I didn't agree with what they did, but even they had really good ideas and things which I can take from. So that's really important. But a lot of the people who I've spoken to about management and coaching, have said, be your own man. So that's probably going to be the most important thing, that I build my own personality, that I take myself as seriously as the situation needs, without being too serious, because if you take yourself too seriously, the players won't. Yeah. So if I'm going to be my own person, I've got to make sure I have good people relationships, because I think that's one of my strengths, and be true to myself, get people working hard.
No, it's good to hear, and obviously all the best for obviously the upcoming season. I'll have to try and get down to a few games myself, obviously being not too far away, so I have to come down. Anything you want to add, was on that side?
Yeah, we've got to ask it. Playing against Ronaldo. I did see the tackle as well. Brilliant.
I don't like to talk about it, to be honest. But no, I don't know. That's taken a really strange life of its own, because it was good, because that was the game, his first game back in England after he did the wink and got Rooney sent off.
Oh, really?
So that's why it was a big deal at the time, and the fact that he went on to be best player ever, one of, is probably why as well. So it's really good. So my day job, I work in a school, and obviously that comes up quite a bit. So yes, it's it can be milked, but I do try and keep a lid on it.
I think that's
it don't help that I've got a big life-size framed photo of it in my garage as well.
You do sort of try and always like link into sort of like, what football club do you support yourself?
Oxford. Yeah. Oxford. As a kid, my close friends will tell you that I was a Nottingham Forest fan as well.
Okay.
I had a shirt. My dad got me into them, but so those are the Brian Voy, Stan Collymore days, and Stuart Pearce of Nottingham Forest. I used to love them, but I've always been
Oxford, man.
Kept Oxford close, and it's good to see them doing well again now.
Yeah, because had a few good results the last few weekends. I believe it was 6-0 the week before, wasn't it?
Yeah. So when will this go out?
This will come out on it's obviously Saturday today, so it'll be out on Friday. So
okay. So I was just seeing whether Oxford will be in the playoffs or not by the time this comes out. So,
it'll be out.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully Oxford will still be in the race for a playoff push, because it's real tight. And yeah, that's even hard to imagine now, Oxford in the Championship. So
we've been knocking on around that playoffs even last year. Obviously for me, my second team's obviously Luton, because I've got a lot of family ties there. So it's sort of an interesting. I sort of compare dynamic is Luton being in the Championship doesn't sound right, because they haven't got the squad to do it. But if you guys did go up, do you think you'd be able to survive?
Well, I think they'll have more of a chance now after seeing how Wickham have done in it. So that's probably a bit of a bit of a blessing. Luton's my favourite away ground.
Really?
Favourite, love it. I don't think I've lost there, and so I've gone there with Oxford. I've gone there with Stevenage. So both against relative, they got fierce. Whatever. Obviously, Stevenage is the local derby. And Oxford at the time, they were the two big clubs in the conference. So I love going there. Absolutely love it. It's an absolute hole. But
honestly,
yeah,
I'll be glad when we do move to the new stadium in a few years' time. But I think, like I say, it's a big part of obviously Luton's foundation is the club and the stadium. Obviously, it is literally in the middle of a housing estate. So.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You have to get police escort to get into there.
Yeah,
you have to worry about if you're going to get spat on when you're going into the stadium, and then when you're in the stadium, you're getting abused the whole time. And it's always good because the away fans love it as well. So they come. I've always loved playing at Luton.
No, Good to hear. Good to hear. So we'll just do a little bit of a roundup. Obviously, the fixtures. Obviously, Liverpool now out of the Champions League. Warren. Obviously, who do you think will now win the Champions League this season between the two?
Who's left? Man City, Real Madrid,
PSG.
Real, PSG, and Chelsea.
I could see. No, I don't know. I could see. I've got to say, I don't know. Real Madrid, they just know what to do. They just know what they're doing.
It's a hard one, obviously. Like you said, everyone you've never ever has said Real at the start of the season. Obviously, they've had a weird season going up and down.
I reckon they'll end up winning the Spanish league and end up winning Champions League. I reckon they're just like that. They do my head in.
I think the interesting game obviously is everyone's calling it the oil derby, obviously of City and PSG. I would have loved to have seen that as a final to sort of see. And obviously, it could be an interesting dynamic that everyone's bringing up that we could potentially have 4 teams in the final. Obviously, looks like it could be an Arsenal Man United final in the.
Yeah, that's boring. I don't like that at all.
You know?
No chance. I'll have European game. Have European teams. I hate it when it's a European final and so say it's at Wembley and an English team's in it. Even that does my head in. And like move it. If an English team's going to, if a country where it's held, if a country's where it's held is going to play in the final, move it. So it's a European game.
Obviously, I think everyone sort of says it is obviously. Was it 2 years ago? Obviously, we had the all English finals. Everyone was sort of saying the English dominance isn't going to go away, but obviously last year Bayern Munich absolutely walked the Champions League. But it looks like it could be going back to English dominance again.
Yeah, it's not English dominance though, is it? It's the teams. The teams are
teams, obviously, but you are seeing a lot of English players start making them. Obviously, Foden sort of ran the show the other night. Obviously, Bellingham again. It's sort of good to see that the English players are now making a name in Europe. For so long, it's always been, like you said, English teams with the foreign dominance.
Yeah, and they've been the added on players and stuff. Yeah.
Even you're looking at Bellingham at Germany, he's been a standout player this year for a foreign club and sort of bringing the English name up good.
You don't. More people do that. It's forever. Premier League always gets these players who aren't at a great standard.
Yeah,
playing in the Premier League, and then no English players ever go abroad, and so hopefully that encourages more people to go and do it. I wish I played abroad. That's one thing I never did. Play abroad. I wish I got an opportunity to do that. So I look at my brother, who's gone and played around the world and around Europe. Sorry. And that was one thing I wish I did. And if a player ever got an opportunity, I would advise them. Go for it.
I think Germany's sort of become a second home for a lot of English players. Obviously, I think Sancho set the trend a few years ago, but you've obviously got a lot of them going out there now. Obviously, we had Reece Nelson go to Hoffenheim last year. You've got Damari Gray's gone to Leverkusen from Leicester. Bellingham obviously gone to Dortmund as well. I'm trying to think of the Ethan Ampadu from Chelsea.
Yeah, you'll see him going to Germany and Holland because you get a bit of a softer landing there in terms like the language barrier isn't too much because it's English is so widespread in those places. So that's why those places will be. And if that's what it takes to encourage more people, then definitely, because you can understand if you're young and you go somewhere where you're not speaking the language, like you say, it's very alien for young English British players to do that. Whereas I guess the ones abroad who are coming over to England are a bit more adventurous and can ultimately earn more money by coming here. So that's probably why that happens more as well.
Yeah. My final question: England in the Euros this summer, where are we going to finish?
They'll get out the group easily. I'm going to say the semi-finals. Semi-finals. I would have thought. Well, at North Leigh, it's going to be like Trafalgar Square. That garden, isn't it?
Yeah, I think nearly every guest we've had on has said at least the semis. So I think that sort of sets the expectation high for Gareth this summer that he's got to get to the semis or at least bring it home for us.
Oh yeah, he's got to. Like I say, every game's at home, basically, isn't it?
I think the way the group has fallen, I think we've got to go to. I think Glasgow potentially won, and I think if we get to the
Home game.
semis,
Home game.
I think the semis is maybe Azerbaijan. I think that's the furthest I think we've got to go.
Okay.
But that's all subject to change with the COVID rules, sort of things yet. So yeah,
No, they. You look at the Euros. There's probably 4 countries who are definitely better, and then there's others who are better than what we think. Like your Polands, your Croatias, and stuff like that. They are better than we give them credit for. So it will be tough, but like you say, there's so many players playing at a high level now in England, and good players. So these 2 years are now or never, really.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But obviously, thank you very much for coming on, Eddie. It's a pleasure to meet you. And like I said, all the best for the upcoming seasons. I'd like to hopefully eventually see your name in the Championship level manager, Premier League manager one day.
So we'll speak in a few months when I'm sacked. And then
you've got a regular place on the podcast if needed.
Brilliant. Call me up anytime.
Obviously, all the socials will be below. Eddie's socials and North Leigh will be in the description as well. Like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, check out Warren on the gaming page for Facebook. He's doing FIFA and Warzone on there regularly. And like I said, last episode, I make an appearance every 10 to 15 streams. So I'm there when required. But thank you all, and we'll see you guys next week.